Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is your weekly sports fix with Stix.
Hey, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015. Follow Anonymous Big Homie at homie_anonymous. We got Rudy back on the show today. He's taking a little bit of a break from his 5 jobs, and it's at Ryan R. Let's Go. Correct, Rudy?
That is correct, sir. That's me.
Hey, I'm getting it all down. What's going on over there in the Midwest? Is that where it is?
What is it? The Eastern Atlantic or something like that. I can't remember what they call it.
Oh yeah, we're the Midwest. I mean,
yeah, Mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic. That's
Mid-Atlantic.
That's right. That's right. Good times, man. It's beautiful out here. It's green. We just had some rain. Everything's getting gorgeous right now. I mean, like, this is best time of year right now.
Yeah, it's actually pretty nice over here. 80 degrees. Heading to the Tri-Cities next week or this weekend for my oldest niece's graduation. It's only going to be like 93 over there, so gonna be sure that's it. I'm gonna be pretty sure I got a sunburn on my 80-degree 1-minute drive home, so should be looking pretty lobster-esque by end of the weekend. That should be fun. Hey, get some color on these arms, you know. Hey,
get you one of those ice pack t-shirts.
Hey, if we sold those on our site, I might have to do that, brother. Maybe we'll have to look into that next invention. I know you got some inventions going on up in that head of yours, on Honest Big Homie.
It's always something. It just rattles around like a baby rattle sometimes, so I never know.
Hey, I want to start with something from the NBA, since it's kind of fresh on our minds, since it just happened last night. Anon's Big Homie, what's up with your Lakers, brah? They done? They finished? We jinxed them last week? I'm pretty good at the jinx. We'll get into that later, so.
Man, I can go into all of the excuses that they would use or anybody else in Laker Nation fandom would use, but it is what it is. They just, to be honest, they don't look right. Now, one of the big reasons that, I would say is, okay, they made it all the way to the finals, did the whole bubble situation, completely all out of the routine, and then had to come back after a short break and run, 72 games and then fire back up again. And we got my man, as Charles Barkley called him last night, Anthony Street Clothes Davis, who can't get on the court. If he can't get on the court, he can't give us anything. And they built the team around the unit of LeBron and him. Everything else fits around. All of those other guys they don't have what the Nets have. And we have 3 individual scorers. And if they all 3 put it together, there's 85, 90 points right there. You know what I mean? So they don't have that. It's all designed to be a unit. When you don't have that other guy, that's it. There's your excuse number one. Secondly of all, I'm going to tell you the eye test. The eye test just don't look good. Okay. LeBron is way too passive now that, I don't know, maybe he's hurt too. But with some time and age on his legs and everything else, he's not expected to have everything that he used to have. So now he's more like a playmaker. I see him passing up way too many shots. And when he can put his head down, that's when he's the best. And I just don't think right now he can put his head down. It's just not there. Maybe it's, energy level, maybe he's tired, maybe it is being hurt, but that part's not there. And ask anybody else to hit a shot. They can't. None of them. I watched. I was so disgusted by the beginning of the third quarter. I was walking around the house muttering. I go, I'm not even going to subject myself to watching the rest of it. Of course I did, but I was just pissed because they couldn't make layups. Everything was jumbled. There was no, how when you watch your favorite team or you watch those good teams that have that flow, that Warriors flow, that Bulls, Kobe, Shaq flow to the game. And now I'm starting to see that a little bit with the Nets too, and how they do it. When you see that flow, you can tell that something's happening, even though maybe they may not be hitting the shots. They're just running all over the place. It's like schoolyard ball. So it just doesn't look good. And last week, what was I saying? Hey, I hope that Chris Paul stays healthy so we can get an even matchup. And then look what happens. You lose Anthony Davis. We don't know for how long, and it doesn't look good because the rest of the team can't put anything together as far as getting the offense going. And the I don't know, the defense don't look good neither. So just all around, it just looks bad. Like I said, maybe it might be attrition and they just tired from, playing as many games in this short of a period. It'll never happen again in a 2-year span or however long this has been. But it just don't look good. I'm not seeing it. They look just as bad as the Heat did. And guess what happened? Other finalists from last year, out, fully swept. Okay. Didn't even put up a fight when last year they beat the Bucks. You feel what I'm saying? So there you go. That's my take on what's going on with the Lakers, man. The engine is just not running on all 8 cylinders. It just really isn't. And it doesn't look good. And I'm not about to sit here and talk bad about them, but I'm looking at it from an analytical perspective, not a fandom side of it, because I'm totally disgusted. Like I said, I want to stop watching the game. But looking at the game, there's some stuff missing. They need another playmaker on that team. It can't just be an old LeBron, 50% Anthony Davis all the time and Kyle Kuzma. That's not going to cut it.
Davis done after this year or what? Does he have one more year on his contract? I don't even know if he signed that 1 year or what.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they already did a redo already.
And just
so they already did the extension already. And I think they did that before this season started. And that's what they're kind of waiting to see what LeBron does with the one more year that he has after this one, which he'll probably stay. They got to get some other players because they thought they were getting complimentary players, which they did to go with what they had, and it was good enough to win a title last year. And then they moved some parts, some that I thought were a little bit more valuable that we could have kept. But they didn't. Still complimentary parts that they added to that unit. It's just they can't get the ball in the basket consistently without LeBron and AD on the floor.
Well, there's some Lakers talk for y'all. Stay tuned. Hopefully they can pull off these next 2 games, and the Blazers can pull off these next 2 games.
If you can see the Blazers.
And speaking of the Blazers, I know. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, I say, like, if you look at the Lakers from the regular season, right? Like they did what they were built to do and what they were built to be. When you talk about like missing that one player, you think about like when they were at full strength, when they had LeBron and AD, that's what the team's built around. And that's how they're built to win. And when they had those players, before LeBron got hurt for a while, before AD got hurt the first time, they were the top team. They had the best record in the game. And then LeBron went down, and then they were a 500 club. LeBron came back, AD went down, and I think, again, they were a 500 club. So you look at it now, to see that they're struggling to win doesn't surprise me at all, because when you figure basketball, more so than baseball or football, you lose one player in football, or baseball, and it doesn't affect your team quite as negatively as it does when that one player is one of 5. Or 6 if you count kind of that 6-man rotation. But But right, so I mean, here you have AD's out, and I'd like to just kind of give a little credit his way. I don't know that he gets as much talk about MVP and things like that because he kind of plays in LeBron's shadow. But really, when you think about how that team's built, they did what they were built to do, just not sustain the injuries that they sustained. So when that team's at full strength, I mean, they probably wouldn't have had the 7th seed that they got. They probably wouldn't have had to do the play in. They probably would have been straight in. They probably would have gone for it from the beginning, number 1 or 2 seed, and they'd probably make a run to the championship. And now they probably won't unless AD gets back to full strength. And you're right. Maybe LeBron's not feeling it. I mean, that dude is old and he's in phenomenal shape, but he's been taking a beating for years and years and years. So, I mean, I guess it sucks.
Yeah, the eye poke was pretty hardcore. Kind of hurt.
Look, that's just LeBron,
lost vision
right?
in that motherfucking eye, bro.
Right.
That's all. That's basketball.
I love the stats about how many seconds he was down for, and like a whole bit. It's just
that was funny.
It's funny. But anyway, I mean, I'm not surprised by it. Like I kind of, it's today's NBA. No team is built to be like a one horse team, where one guy carries you and takes you the whole way. Like, I mean, you're built to have 2 or 3 superstars on every team, and that's how you compete. And when one of those guys goes down, I mean, unless you've got some stud on the bench to come in and pick up the slack, like you're just not gonna win. And it's unfortunate for the Lakers that happened now. But again, like it does hold some truth to me to what AD really means to that team. And I mean, maybe we don't hear his name as an MVP quite as much as we should, but maybe we should be.
Well, we'll stay tuned for the Lake show tomorrow night and see what happens, I guess. And will be a lot of questions that are going to be asked about that team and if AD could be healthy and if LeBron's healthy and whatever. I don't even know if AD's coming back, but let's get on to a little.
How old is LeBron's kid now? Is he a junior?
Yeah.
LeBron James Jr. Is he a junior?
Finishing his junior year this year. Next year will be his senior year.
So, I mean, is that really a thing? Like, I've said all along that what's going to happen is that I think I may have said it on the podcast that Bronny Jr. is going to get drafted by the Cavaliers. The only way that LeBron is going to wind up able to play with this kid, and that's a goal of his. So, essentially, 2 more years, and Bronny's eligible to be drafted. He's going to get drafted by the Cavaliers, and then LeBron's going to have to go back to Cleveland just to be able to play with his son. But anyway, I just wanted to ask that.
Very good possibility, that's for sure.
It's around the corner, and I mean, LeBron is like, if I'm not mistaken, less than 100 minutes played away from most all time. It's something like that. So that's a lot of damn minutes he done put on his body. Now, if he could reserve himself to turning his game into like a Magic Johnson type of situation now, and then they build around AD, somebody else, and then LeBron, we could be okay. But as long as LeBron is, quote unquote, still the man, people saying you're going to him as a number 1 option, I don't think it's going to work. At some point, look at Melo. You know what I mean? Melo's still rocking, but he ain't New York Knicks Melo. He ain't Denver Nuggets Melo.
It's funny when you mention that, right? Because you talk about how basically asking LeBron to sort of step back and say, hey, we're going to keep you on the team, but we're not going to build the team around you. And the first person I thought of was Aaron Rodgers, right? Like asking LeBron to step back is like asking Aaron Rodgers to mentor his future replacement, right? Like that's a tough thing to ask a superstar to do. And it's a tough decision for a GM to make that switch. You get a dude like LeBron sign on your team and literally win you a championship, but now you're that guy. You're the one that said, all right, cool. Thanks, LeBron. All right, we're done with you now. You're gonna be the 3rd or the 4th fiddle. Like, that's funny.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Jordan didn't look good on the Wizards. That's all I got to say. Yeah, that's the only reason I was saying that I did not like the move when we did it. I appreciate LeBron for bringing another chip to Laker Nation. But long term, I thought that we should have kind of kept some of those pieces and then kept rocking and built around another shoe. Still got Anthony Davis or tried to get Kevin Durant or whatever. But yeah, I just on the backside of your career, just gonna put you in a bad position. And I don't think that's a very similar comparison with Aaron Rodgers because the career's not garbage. It's not a full fall off. But you're on the backside, so you have to start preparing as an organization. It's a tough spot, man.
Well, I'm going to get into the stuff for some of those Blazers fans out there. They all saw the disappointment in the overtimes last night. I know Rudy wasn't awake for that game. Well, he might have been on his 24-hour shift or whatever. But man, Lillard is a G and has a magnificent backbone. What an assassin. I said last week him and McCallum were probably the two best, but McCallum is kind of a letdown last night, in my opinion. I don't even know why Lillard even tried to give up the ball in the last two overtimes, because there was a sequence in I think it was the second overtime. Yeah, I think it was the second overtime. There was a missed dunk, a missed three. McCallum gets the ball at the 3-point line and he damn near steps into the front row. You got to know that you don't have any room in the corner to be stepping and pulling your foot back. So then they get a turnover on that when he steps out of bounds.
Less than 10 seconds to go when that happens.
Yeah. So what the hell? But 55 points from Lillard last night, 17 for 24 field goals, 12 for 17 and 3-pointers made, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. I mean, yeah, he literally shouldn't have ever given up the ball at that point. I mean, just got to go. Speaking of a team, not having anybody around you, I mean, he literally had nobody, it seemed like, at that point. But
that's a perfect scenario for a team on your back, Damian Lillard right there. He is. If they can keep them close in the end, that last minute is what you want to see when Dame Lillard's out there, because he is not playing. Whatever it is, he's got that Kobe-esque feel to it. And every time I'm looking for it, feeling like it's going to drop every time. I don't know what the play is going to be run. I don't know if he's going to pull up from a step from half court, but you have a feeling like it's going to go. And he just has that. And, it's good to see, and I hope they're able to pull it out. I hope somebody in the state of Washington can see it, seeing that they're doing a poor job of advertising where a regional Portland Trailblazers game is on television.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, I'm floating all around NBA TV, everybody says. It's blacked out, so I go to the local situation. Nothing's on there. This fool gives me some high 617 channel that I got, but who the hell's going to look up there for this? Okay, I know what the hell this was. I look for where they normally are on TV when I see them, and I catch their local broadcasts. Not there. So NBA Trailblazers, y'all got to get y'all lives together because you have to recognize you're the only regional basketball team up here, and you're going to have some fans up here who want to see a playoff game from the Northwest. Man, get it out there. Make sure everybody knows about it.
Word on the street is word on the street is A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, is still finalizing the deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But supposedly he mentioned something about bringing the team, or somebody mentioned something about them bringing the team to Seattle, which right. I also believe I heard in the contract was that whoever he bought it from, they're not going to move, that he's not allowed to move the team. However, we've heard that song and dance before when it happened in Seattle and they moved to OKC. So who knows, but it's about time once we get the Kraken popping off this year and the arena ready to go, which is damn near ready, I believe. And then got to get the Sonics back to Seattle. That is got to be number one in the eyes of the NBA. Got to get that revenue back, adding some teams that they lost.
Representing Seattle fandom. Okay, here's a question for you. Do you feel like it would be a better or more appropriate situation to take on a current and existing team and rename them the Seattle Supersonics, or do expansion like they did with the Hornets and start back over Seattle Supersonics?
Hey, just start it back over, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Bring it back. Just start it over. Expand a franchise into the league, and get it popping, just like they did with the Kraken. Let's just get it going.
Yeah, so, for those Browns fans, and you got to do with the Ravens situation. That had to have been weird. And then because I like how they brought the Browns back and said, "Forget y'all. We don't have no affiliation with them, even if players are still there." I like that. Don't take on another franchise like the Thunder did, and kind of, morph it out. I don't like that. I think they should just, go ahead and go full expansion and everybody fall in love with the team that is homegrown and starts here.
100%. 100%. So I just want to close it out with close out the NBA with these knucklehead fans who are throwing water bottles, dumping popcorn, running on the court. What the hell is wrong with people? Well, we all know lots of things, but geez, dude, just give it a rest. You finally get to go to an NBA game. You finally get to go to a baseball game. You finally get to go to something. You're going to act a fool and never be able to go again. What a bunch of dumbass people. Golly.
COVID does have effect on brain cells, apparently. See, now you don't need a study for that. I just told you. COVID has an effect on people's brain cells, whether it was they caught it and lost a few brain cells, or are now walking around outside with some measure of freedom that, now that we can re-attend some of our favorite events, let's just wild out while we're there. That would be great, wouldn't it? Because TV, social media, let's film this, whatever the reason is. Everybody is like, let's wild out. And for it to happen like it has happened on multiple occasions is crazy. It's like, did you see the dude who ran on the court yesterday and tapped the backboard? Or the day before yesterday?
No, I just saw him get tackled or whatever.
Right. So, okay, so you run out on the basketball court and tap the backboard. I know. See, this is a DC situation right here. What did you think was going to happen? They were just going to go walk you back to your seat and it was going to be all good? No. Either he lost some brain cells or somebody pumped him up and said, "Go ahead, go do it." You won't face he's facing charges now for this. This is crazy.
Right. No, they got to do something to get these morons to get their keep their head straight when they're out there, that close to, especially on the NBA court where you're, arm's length away if you're sitting front row, and then somehow you make your way down to the court to touch the backboard, man.
Security was slipping too, clearly.
What's that?
I said security had to be slipping too. See, they forgot how to work too. They forgot how important their job is too. If he just went around all kinds of security, got down to floor level, and then ran across and tapped the backboard.
David, did you see that view? They showed it from like back way up high from behind the backboard. Dude came flying down those stairs. Like, I mean, where the ushers always back up like during the game, and then during like timeouts or whatever, they come out and they kind of walk down and they walk around and look and check and stuff. But like, I mean, this was middle of the game and this dude came flying down. I mean, like he wasn't being stopped. So I think it's messed up, man. I mean, have we forgotten how to act? Like we're so excited to get back out in public again. Yeah. Like my kid the other day was doing that, just so excited, like literally out of control, like couldn't even control his emotions, right? That's like what these guys are like. They go to a game, they've been missing basketball, missing sports, finally get out in public and just get so excited they can't even think straight. Hilarious.
Yeah, these knuckleheads. And then I sent a Nas Big Homie one from a baseball game last night where dude got trucked. I don't know if you saw that. Dude ran on the field and then he started running up the stairs, like on the field, jumped the fence and started running up, and some kid met him at stair number 2 and popped him into next week. And then security grabbed him.
Speared him. He running up the stairs. He speared him back into the wall. Ooh, it was so
Goldberg
serious
style, baby.
Yeah, boy. And he thought he was good. I thought he thought he was real good, I guess. But my man was not having it. And see, my man's gotta open up like a linebacker tackling school, because I mean the instincts of that play when he hit the hole, he right in the hole, and it was like, it was good. You got to resend that out.
Yeah, he popped him. I will. That's for sure. So let's get into some MLB, and I need to put this out there. Since last week, I was talking smack about my Mariners, putting them on blast. They were like 3 games below 500. I said they'd never sniff 500 again this season, and they proved me wrong, going 7-3 in their last 10, and now they're at 500, 28-28. So that's on me. Had no faith, but as I talked about last week, I'm still going to have fun watching the game, see what happens. However, I'm not going to be disappointed if they go below 500, and we're just going to roll with that, see how this young talent plays out. And, maybe I was right with my pick at the beginning, the AL West champs. Maybe they'll surprise us, but I was not seeing that a week and a half ago, after they're, losing 3 to Detroit, getting slaughtered by San Diego, and then going into the Oakland series where they actually won 2 out of 3, and then Texas where they swept them in 4. But now they got one more game with Oakland, and then they rolled to LA, Anaheim. Then they got 9 games against Rudy's AL Central, at Detroit, at Cleveland, and then home against Minnesota. So that's going to be a good test, road test for them against the AL Central, because the Central don't play. Obviously, Detroit already smacked them once, so see if they get some redemption this time.
Man, you believe any of that you just said? You didn't give me any insight to how they won these 5 games in a row. It was all luck.
It was all luck, you say?
Yeah. It was just like we said, everybody's gonna catch a hot one, and they're going a nice little something. That's just the ebb and flow of the Major League Baseball season. But you didn't point to a damn thing. You didn't say, "Oh, the bats got hot."
Well, the bullpen actually was decent again this time around in the last 10. Except for last night is one of those losses where the bullpen gave up, I don't even know how many runs, too many. So the bullpen's a little janky with COVID protocols, injuries. It seems like anytime someone goes to the mound to close out a game, the next day they're on the DL or IL. And then they have someone else they pull up from AAA. I do want to say that we talked about Taylor Trammell a couple of weeks ago, how he's been, or maybe it was last week, but he was back in AAA after his sluggish start in when he opened the roster for Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis got hurt and the other day, and then they bring up Taylor Trammell again. Taylor Trammell did hit a home run last night, so it looks like he got his swing back in AAA, and we do need to still get Trent Henderson on to talk about the pitching in AAA and what his thoughts are in that area. But, still, like you both said, Rudy and Anas, big homie, you guys both said, where's the power coming from? There's really no power. I mean, you got Mitch Haniger and you have Kyle Seager. You know, they only, let's see, what is, you know, Haniger still has 14. Seager hit his 10th. You know, then you got a couple guys with 5 and Tom Murphy with 6, but you're not going to get much more from Tom Murphy as a catcher, in my opinion. You know, how catchers kind of, you know, it's a long season for them, but still no real power. But they're not, I mean, they're winning games 4-3, 5-1, you know, or not, you know, 4-3, 3-2. So, you know, we'll see how that all plays out.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to talk about this situation, and I want to hear Rudy's state of the Indians address, because I would love to know, seeing that they're only 2.5 back, and I think he thought that they were going to be pretty garbage. But I do have to say I got to eat a little crow, because what did I say last week? I thought we was going to have this 4-game homestand against the world's hated San Francisco Giants. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah. I thought we was going to be at the top of the division after that, you know, but we won 1 out of 4 in the damn homestand at home. Okay. There's no excuse for this.
And was that on the 6-game losing streak or whatever the hell they've been on, your Dodgers?
Yeah. So that was the last 4 of it. And yeah, it's all bad. So on to St. Louis. Okay. Last night didn't look so good from what I saw, to be honest with you. I was highly upset about the result there last night. But I mean, it's a long season. Here we go again, even with the losing streaks. It's a long season, and we got Cody Bellinger coming back. He's gonna work it out. He's gonna get back into his groove, and that'll change up the lineup flow, which would be great. So to get back to what we started or finished off with last year. But nevertheless, we already know what's up with the Tips. Okay. Let's hear the state of the Indians address from Mr. Rudy.
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't have enough tabs open on this computer to look at and describe all the things I want to look at and talk about. But
okay,
just let me get to the Mariners right now, real quick, because I've been having this thought. But my date for the Mariners, I want you to look at this, and I almost want to we fast forward through June 27th, which is a Sunday. And I think that's their D-Day, if you will. And we're going to find out what that team is made of. Like Pinga was saying, right? You get through here and you got the Angels and the Tigers and the Indians and the Twins. And those aren't, none of those teams except for the Indians are in contention, but those are like that middle pack AL Central teams, whatever. But so they got to come out of that. They got to win more of those games. They got to be over 500 in those games against the Angels, Tigers, Indians, and Twins. But then look what comes right behind that. You got the Tampa Bay and then the White Sox. Those are the games. If they can come out, I'll say 5 games over 500, something like that, through that stretch of their season, that's where we're going to know what they got. I think that's going to be D-Day, right? Get through that time and have that record be above 500. And now all of a sudden, we can start thinking about them making a run. So that's that. Moving on to
real quick, Rudy.
Good call.
Like you just said, I like that too, because you said the Rays and the White Sox both lead the division. Right?
Division winners, yeah.
Right. And then you go to Toronto, whose offense is amazing, even though they're still 5.5 out in the AL East. But I mean, like you said, those games, 4 against the Rays and 3 against the White Sox, it could be another San Diego.
Then you got Texas coming back, and then the Yankees, and then back to Anaheim again. And so I mean, if you can, that just shows me if you're sitting there and you're 5-6 games above 500 coming out of that White Sox series, now you get into some winnable games. And then even then, if you play 500 ball back through the middle of July, back to the All-Star break, if you will, you're still now 5 or 6 games above, and you've got. It makes me sad though, guys. I want you to know what a huge fan I was and am of the expanded playoffs. Because as you look at these teams, and I mean, like I'm flip back to another screen I got up here with these standings and these wild card standings. It's obviously very, very early to start talking about these wild card standings.
Right.
But I mean, you got a bunch of teams. I mean, even down through the Mariners in the American League, from the Red Sox, Astros, Indians, Yankees, Blue Jays, Royals, and Mariners. Like those are teams that are all within 3 games of these wild card spots, and they're just someone's not going to get them. And man, we watch baseball all year long, and the old saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, sometimes I can't even hang with baseball because it's so long, and it takes you have to watch for so long a period. That's why I like to pick dates to recheck back in, like I mentioned, the end of June with the Mariners. But if they would have increased that playoff spot, by expanding the wild card like they did last year, I mean, man, we would have a lot of teams that are going to be in the hunt for a long, long time in this season and not. So I'm not a big fan of that now. And that brings me to the Indians. I mean, yeah, the Indians are overperforming what I thought they would do. I mean, they've been no hit twice. Like they have the ability to get no hit pretty much anytime they step on the field. Their offense can be suspect at any time. They're starting pitching. I mean, look, what Bieber's doing again. I mean, he's doing great things, setting strikeout records. Third fastest player, right? I texted you guys this. He's the third fastest player in the history of baseball, going back to the 1800s. Third fastest player to reach, 600 strikeouts for his career. I mean, dude's insane. They've got great pitching.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The White Sox are right where they're supposed to be. Everybody knew that the White Sox were really making some moves, and this was going to be a good year for them. I'm incredibly surprised at where the Twins are. I think most people are equally surprised at where the Twins are this year as where the Yankees are this year. Just teams that haven't necessarily gelled yet. Now, you can blame it on the fact that the weather on the East Coast and in the North where the Twins play hasn't gotten warm yet. And we'll see what happens with these teams, these hitting ball clubs when the weather gets warm. But there's so much that can happen. There's so many things that can take place: winning streaks, losing streaks, key injuries. Last year, if you guys remember, the Indians manager was out the rest of the season after about halfway through because he got pretty ill. Like, so many things can happen, but what a disservice MLB did by going back to the original playoffs when they had a prime opportunity. Look what the NBA did. I mean, they added play-in games. If you're that 7th or 8th team, you hated it because you had to play for your spot. But if you were a fan of, for example, the Wizards, who were in that number 10 spot all year long, they got themselves in the playoffs. So I don't know. We'll see where the Indians go. We'll see what happens. It's still a long season. There's still a long way to go. But I think we're in for some disappointments come wild card time. I think we're in for maybe a little bit of excitement, but nowhere where we could be if last year's playoff format came in this year.
Right, I agree with that 100%. I wish they would have kept the playoff format and the DH. Universal DH would have been nice as well. Even though we wouldn't get to see Jacob deGrom hit 450 in his pitching when he pitches. So dude can handle the stick and has a great fastball. We are a third of the way into the season, so we're getting there. And then, like you said, the All-Star break coming up. It's going to be interesting to see where things start to shimmy out. We probably should give Aaron Jones a shout out to his Cubs real quick, though, that they are in the NL Central division leaders. Don't think he had too high hopes of them at the beginning of the season as well, right?
I think that was a surprise too, I think.
Yeah. So, we'll see how they end up playing. I mean, St. Louis is only a half game back. Milwaukee's only 2.5 back. Man, you're NL West though, and I was big homie. Jiminy Christmas, San Francisco, San Diego, and your Dodgers. It's like a revolving door with those three, bro. They just keep going back and forth, flipping it up. But we'll see. It's a little. The NL East is just interesting. I mean, talk about playing good and playing bad. I mean, it's NL East and the AL West is similar in my opinion, because you got the Mets, who are still a few games behind because of their slow start to the season where they missed a bunch of those games before they catching up on those. They lead right now, but they've had a couple injuries, as Rudy was talking about, with pitching, and as we discussed with the short season last year. And Atlanta, they can put up some runs here and there every once in a while, and then you got Philadelphia hanging back too. But I think that's going to be the interesting part about the MLB season. Third of the way in, DeGrom's already hit the DL. We saw a couple Tommy John surgeries with Paxton early in the season. The Mariners are going through bullpen arms it's a crayon box. You just break it and just go to the next one or whatever. But we'll see, man. It's crazy.
That's it.
Hey,
I think Rudy's observation about looking at those mile markers in the season based on the schedule was a great observation, because that's when you should really look, and you could say, where are we at here? Where are we at here? You know what I mean? You break the season down. So that was beautiful right before the All-Star break too.
I'm wondering though if I'm going to have to wind up eating my words over here, right? Because you guys remember,
I did
last
it.
Year,
it's okay.
And the reason why I was so upset about the Indians not spending money and letting Frankie Lindor go and all that stuff, and I'm sure they made a I'm sure subpar offer to Jose Ramirez, the third baseman, MVP caliber third baseman, and I'm sure he's not signing because he knows he's going to get $200 million or something when he comes available. But I basically said that these teams that don't spend money are never going to win and never going to make the playoffs, and you got to be able to spend money. And remember, I chimed on and on about a salary cap, or more importantly, like a salary floor, forcing these teams to spend money so they can retain guys. And right now the Indians are kind of, and maybe even the Cubs are kind of making me eat my words a little bit. But what's funny is as I'm looking this over, out here in the DC area, I think beginning of the year, everybody thought we were going to have a Washington Nationals, New York Yankees World Series. And if you look at where we are today, we're nowhere near going to have that. Nationals are in the basement, 6 games out of first place behind the Mets. They're not at this point going to make the playoffs. Now we know they've gotten hot before. But then you look at the Mets, and I remember thinking Frankie went to the Mets, and then he signed an extension before he ever played a game. And they have been kind of one of those dysfunctional teams, right, over the years that could never get it straight. And I could never figure out why he would want to go there, why he would sign. I mean, it's not just about the money. He could have gone to the Yankees. He could have gone to the Dodgers. I mean, he could have gone pretty much anywhere. And he chose to re-sign to sign the extension with the Mets. But what's most interesting is crazy. They're in first place, and he's hitting under 200. I mean, his stats for the year: 198, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. I mean, now that's not going to last. He's going to get hot. He started slow before, but I mean, they're in first place, looking like they're running toward the playoffs, looking like they're going to win that division. And their best player is I mean, if this was pro football, PFF, he'd be ranking replacement, right? He'd be a bench player. And here he is, doing horribly, and they're in first place. So I don't know, man. I mean, baseball is different. I would be willing to eat my words at the end of the year. I still think that teams need to keep their players. And let fan bases build around certain players, especially ones that are so polarizing like Frankie. But man, baseball is also kind of one of those sports. Baseball is one of those things you never know, but I'm intrigued. I mean, it's intriguing, I guess. I still want more playoff spots.
I agree with the playoff spots. And then, I was just looking up you're talking about the Mets and how, they're winning these games. They do have the second best team ERA at 3.10 behind San Diego at 2.80. So, I mean, pitching is the key. Right now, it seems like, there was a couple games. There was a couple big games. I think Atlanta, whoever they played, they had the 4 players. They hit 2 home runs with, the weather warming up wherever they were in Atlanta. But what was I saying? The pitching seems to be the key right now.
That's what it looks like.
They
don't look like they're scoring a lot of runs out there. They're only +5 in differential.
Yeah. So, the stats, the pitching stats for these guys, the pitching is what's winning right now, but is it going to be the longevity of the season when, these arms start to get tired and they get a bullpen like my lonely Mariners, where they have to keep rotating through the minor league club to get an arm just to be a opener for a game or whatever. So,
well, it's June 1st. I mean, let's be realistic. It's June 2nd now, but I mean, it's the beginning of June. We still got all June, July, August, and really September, where, temperatures in these stadiums are going to start hitting the mid 90s. I mean, even out here, in DC, like the temperature doesn't ever read much more than 95 on the hottest days, like where in Vegas it reads 120, let's say. Right. But the feels like now, I mean, I just want to bring up wind chill for a minute. Like, we watch wind chill all the time. Everybody knows about wind chill and how, you might have a 60-degree day with wind and it feels like 20 outside and people freak out. But in the summertime, and I just learned this recently, now you have what's called the heat index. And coming from Vegas, we don't have a heat index out there. It's dry, it's humid. I mean, it's not very humid, it's dry. And so when the sun's shining down and it's 110 degrees, it feels like 110 degrees. Well, out here where it's humid, and they have it down in places like Atlanta in the South and, most places where there's baseball, you may only have a 90-degree day, but when that humidity rises, you get this heat index, and it's the opposite of a wind chill, and it gets hot. It gets hot. And when it gets hot, baseballs start to fly. And I think that's going to be what the key is that I think if we look back season to season up to June 1st, year after year, I think winning or pitching continues to be the winning factor up until the weather gets warm. So your teams like the Yankees, teams that are built to hit, teams that are built to score tons and tons of runs, they're going to be what's interesting to watch as June turns to summer and it starts to get hot. And then maybe we're having these conversations, our hybrid football and baseball podcasts in September and seeing a totally different outlook from what the season looks like now to what it looks like then.
100%. You're right. With the weather warming up, I mean, we saw it here in Seattle the last few days. I mean, even, excuse me, the Mariners and the Oakland have played, last night scored, whatever it was, 14 runs or 18 runs or whatever. But, now that the weather's warming up here too, you almost see the pitchers labor a little bit because it is getting, they go from not pitching in a year or a simulated, a smaller season. And then, they're going to go in from the colder weather and then the shorter spring training or whatever it was. And then now you're getting the weather just changes like that and it gets warm again. So, we'll see how that plays out as well.
And you got the pitchers with the, with the little substance inside the glove.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Those major factors right there, so, we keeping the run production down until the heat gets up. And then you can't put the substance in there because it'll melt off. It ain't going to do the same exact job that you need it to do. So, but yeah, no, we get some major run production as we get going and everybody gets warmed up. And again, it's a lot of factors, just like we talked about with basketball with, COVID shortened situations and now coming back into full on real life. I think, of course we got to, the bias for something to happen now and storylines and whatnot. But that was definitely it. Looking at it from a seasonal breakdown by the schedule. And we'll start to see things, storylines and big storylines will come up and we'll be on them.
with the oh shit. Well, we'll get to.
You want to get on these substances, man? You want to get on these substances?
The John Means no hitter against the Mariners. Told you all about it with the little substance in the glove. And then you got Josh Donaldson coming out this week talking about how he has a whole book on pitchers that have substances and how they're using them and stuff. And I think you said that, Anas, big homie. I think you said it last week or whatever, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago, where maybe nobody says anything because everybody does it, right?
Right.
And so I think everybody does it, but at the same time, someone's going to be a whistleblower, like the manager from the St. Louis Cardinals did, and said, something's going down. Let's fix this or whatever. So,
and he was so cool with it because he said, just pay attention to the game. How does a pitcher come out with a dirty cap and he hasn't thrown anything yet but warm-up pitches? What's
Right.
on there that quick? We get new hats all the time. What's going on? And I'm going, that's simple stuff. You could pick up on that, but nobody's going to George Brett these pitchers. You know what I mean? And nobody's going to walk out like they used to. And who was that? Who was that picture where they took his glove from him and was looking at it? Well, that was in the
back
early
in the
2000s,
day.
early 2000s, late 90s. And they had his glove and they was like really inspecting
Looking
his
at it.
glove. They're not doing that no more. They're just trying to keep the game from being shady looking.
Right. And back then you could, the manager would be like, hey, Blue, go check out his glove. I see that.
Right.
Now they're just like overlooking everything. Cause you can't tell me that when you're watching film on this guy, that you don't see that, right? Cause you're looking to see if, how he holds the ball in his glove, to see if you could tell what pitch he's going to throw by the grip that he's digging in and, stuff like that. So, and maybe it is a league-wide thing, but I'm guessing not all teams do it, or not all pitchers do, or, have pitchers that do it. But, there's a few out there that do. And there's plenty of stuff floating around that has proof that they have it. And I don't know how you doctor that. I mean, I've sent you guys both the video of the couple of them. So
looking guilty. You can't look more guilty than that. Tell me what that was. Is that a mannerism that you've always had? No. It just looked guilty. And like I said, everybody's going to look for a competitive edge, whether we got to, deflate the footballs, we got to cork a bat or something until you get busted. You want to overinflate a football, whatever the situation is. I don't know if basketball, you can really, have anything like that except for, a legal defense and stuff like that. And traveling, I guess, is theirs, and flopping.
Right.
And flopping is theirs because now it's like traveling is like a thing and nobody sees it and all of this. So it's just those. Yeah, it's those competitive edges, and and in baseball, it's just so much negative built into the game. I mean, 30% is Hall of Fame for a hitter. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would you make it harder for them? You guys got to relax. They should have to throw. They should have to throw like an ephus pitch up there once an inning or something, and just lob one up there and just see if the dude can hit it or something.
Let's also realize too that baseball is not a pitcher's league. I mean, we've had these conversations before about the steroid era. We've talked about things that baseball's done over the years to increase offense, because offense is what's going to make their game more exciting and make it compete more against the NFL and the NBA, which of course we've talked about. The NFL is just literally destroying all sports leagues right now when it comes down to it. I mean, think about, their draft is like literally on national TV, like the entire weekend's crazy. But we talked about last year. I mean, we were having these conversations about the baseballs and about how the baseballs get changed, and they lower the seams on the baseball so that they don't break as sharply, or they're harder to throw some of that nasty sliders and changeups that move. They lighten the baseball, right? That was a pretty common one, that the baseball was I don't want to say an ounce. I mean, I can't think of exactly how much it weighs right now, but you make the baseball lighter and it travels further when you hit it. Like everything they've done back in the 90s, they lowered the mound. They lowered the angle of the mound, or the height of the mound, to decrease the angle of the pitch, so that the flatter the ball comes in, the more the baseball the hitter sees. when a ball comes in from high, like Randy Johnson, 6'10", throwing the ball, straight down, think of the angle the ball's coming, you see less of the baseball as a hitter because it's coming at you at a sharper angle by the way that your eye looks in a flat horizontal plane. So if you lower the mound, that decreases the angle the pitch is coming in. It allows the hitter to see more of the baseball and allows him to hit more of the baseball. Then they lowered the mound, they lowered the home run fences, moved them in. Baseball's always been against the pitcher because the pitcher's the one that makes the game boring by basically, striking people out or giving up ground balls to the second baseman. So as you have these pitchers, these guys deserve to make a livelihood too. I always use the analogy that Roger Clemens was one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and he got caught using steroids. And I guarantee you, if you asked him, he probably said he didn't, but if you asked him, he'd say he used steroids because he had to compete against Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and those dudes the hitters that were doing them. So pitchers need to find themselves a competitive advantage to be able to earn their livelihood. And whatever it is that they're doing right now, they're trying to combat it. Now, I guess the ball's changed again. MLB's kind of gone back to a ball that's maybe a little bit more pitcher friendly than the one they had last year. But it doesn't surprise me. And I was thinking, even if it's not a substance, right? Like if you take that leather of the baseball glove, if you guys have a glove at home, just get it wet. Just get the tip of the thumb wet, right, with sweat or whatever, and then take your fingers, your 3 fingers that hold the baseball, right, your index finger, your middle finger, and your thumb, and just rub it on that wet glove. You're going to rub away like all the oils on your skin, but you're also, once that leather gets wet, you're almost going to scuff your fingertips. I mean, it may not be a substance. It might just be the combination of sweat and a wet spot on the thumb of the glove where they can rub like this and then get those fingers just scuffed up enough where they can get a better grip and they get more snap. And Trevor Bauer will tell you all about spin rotation, right?
Hell yeah, you will.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't blame them. I wish that's one thing. I wish baseball would quit messing with baseballs and quit messing with it. And if pitchers are doing something that's making the game boring, then make the hitters adjust. And that's what baseball's about, right? Adjusting. 162 game season, make adjustments. Hit a slump, make an adjustment, right? Start giving up home runs, make an adjustment. Like that's what it's about. So I just wish that baseball would stop, let the players make the adjustments and not the game.
Well, a couple things that you said, Rudy. You're talking about just having a little substance on your finger, or substance rubbing your finger on your glove, and just coming from a pitcher, right? That's coming from you, who used to be a pitcher. So you're sticking up for these pitchers, first of all, which, hey, I don't blame you. And second of all, you're 100% right about the being a hitter's game, right? We all know it's a hitter's game. They want to, see all these runs on the board and create excitement. And that was one of those things we talked about, messing with the game, where they are going to attempt to move the mound back or whatever, which is ridiculous. So you are 100% correct on that as well. But I just wanted to throw it out there, coming from a former pitcher, you being a former pitcher, that you're sticking up for the pitchers, and it might not be a substance on their glove. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, get a glove, man. I'm just saying, because you know what? It's about grip. Substance equals grip. That's what it's about. Being able to grip the baseball and be able to make the baseball do what you want to do. It's about grip. That's why, just so you know, that when a pitcher throws a ball in the dirt, right? When the ball hits the dirt and the catcher blocks it, that ball's got a scuff mark on it. And that's why the ump takes the ball and throws it off to the dugout, where they usually either can get the scuff out of it or give it to some kid in the stands. But that scuff allows grip. So if you could scuff your fingertips as opposed to scuffing the baseball, right? Remember the old sandpaper in the glove,
yeah,
right?
I was going to
little sandpaper. You rub the ball in the sandpaper. You're scuffing the baseball. Well, listen, maybe we're not scuffing the baseball. Maybe we're scuffing our fingertips. But think about it. I'm not that far off. I know you got a glove laying around that house. Go get a glove. Get it wet, and just rub, like I said, And then you tell me if you don't think that maybe you get a little bit more grip out of those fingertips, right? And you're messing with you as opposed to the baseball, and then it's almost undetectable.
Speaking,
so the rosin bag ain't good enough no more. You know what I mean? The rosin bag is just not good enough. That doesn't work. I got to go to some shenanigans. I mean, you guys are absolutely right about the situation with the way that the game is. The game has never been promoted as let's stop the hitter. It's let's see how successful the hitters can be, right? And we talked about this, I think, over a year ago, is why doesn't MLB market the skill of pitchers better? It might give people a little bit more insight to the game. But it won't, because like Rudy just said, it's not exciting, right? As the running the bases and the base knock and the home run and all of this, it's just not as exciting to see a curve bend, you know what I mean, and make somebody look stupid. So, yeah, it is what it is.
We'll see. Well, hey, I just want to get to something real quick before we close it out. I know Rudy's hecka excited about this. Speaking of retirement, Anas Big Homie that you were talking about, Coach Krzyzewski from Duke retired today, as well as Myles Garrett retired as well from playing basketball, man. From playing basketball, exactly what Rudy wanted. Told him, said, can this dude quit playing basketball already? Was in a text, last week? Maybe it was a little bit before that. So Rudy, he finally retired from basketball, bro.
Did you see those guys he was dunking on? Like, those guys they look like middle-aged accountants. I mean, dude, like, seriously, could you imagine he bangs on an accountant and it comes down on that dude's foot and he blows out his ankle and his knee and he's out for the year because he dunked on an accountant? Come on, bro. Like, get off the basketball court.
Who had that conversation with him? You think the team had the conversation? His agent, his players? I mean, who? The player? Who knows?
It could have been all the above.
Yeah.
It could have been. Yeah. I mean, you see, the union is pretty active in football right now, right? Like with the not showing up to the voluntary workouts and trying to keep more of the stuff and all this stuff that's going on with the union. Like it wouldn't surprise me. And then that's that whole thing, right? Where we talked about the player that got hurt a few weeks ago, and his team's not going to pay him the $10 million or whatever because he wasn't working out on team facilities. So yeah, I mean, what's Myles Garrett's on a $125 million contract? He doesn't play this year. Who's going to pay him? Browns ain't going to pay him. But anyway, we should focus more on Coach K, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. That's what I wanted to throw it out there. I knew you wanted to get that out there because you called it first. So, you like, just get this guy off of the.
Hey, can I throw something out that's been bothering me?
Yeah,
let's go.
Speaking of retirement, how come 55 hasn't been retired by the Dodgers? How come Oral Hershiser's number is still being worn? I mean, that dude put up the greatest run. What, he had 62 consecutive scoreless innings and took them to a World Series. Yeah. Like, look, I love Pujols. I think he's a great player. I love the fact that he's never had his name run through the mud with anything else. But when I saw him wearing 55 for the Dodgers, I thought to myself, why? Oral Hershiser deserves to have his number retired, right alongside Coach K and right alongside Myles Garrett's basketball career. That's all I'm saying. I had to bring it back to the point of the conversation. But seriously, can we please get the Dodgers to take that 55 out, please?
I like it because I don't think that the 88 team, even though, we had a hodgepodge of players at that time, gets enough credit, and he was the jewel of that team. Him and Mike Scioscia as a battery. Come on, man. And Kirk Gibson was hurt pretty much on and off all year. Didn't really do much for us. We had a nice little staff, but that beating Don Drysdale, the Don of the Dodgers, I think it was 59 2/3 was the record. And I remember watching the game when he surpassed the record for scoreless innings. I can't remember where he ended up at, but I would imagine he would have got across 60. And that's what made that season memorable and magical for everybody. So yeah, that brings up a good point. I didn't put two thoughts into that until you said it. And I know that I'm not sure if the Dodgers retire names like the Cowboys do, and they just let people wear all types of numbers except for 42, or they retire numbers. I'm trying to vision, the stadium, and I don't remember numbers being up there, but I'm forgetting.
So the record was 59. I'm looking on this website. The record was 59. He beat that
59 even? Okay.
But that was that year. That was the year of 88. So then he came out, and I think he threw, I want to say it was either 2 1/3 or 3 scoreless innings, his first outing of the 1989 year. So 59 scoreless for that season. And I can't find it. And I don't want to bury my head in this website while we're trying to talk. But I mean, that's just one of you think about it, like that's literally one of the most amazing records. I mean, and by the way, guys, that's not earned runs versus unearned runs. And so like if the third baseman kicks the ball and the guy scores, like that's not what we're talking about. They're straight up scoreless innings. I don't think that record will ever be broken, I'll say, by a starting pitcher. I think it's possible that a closer can maybe break that record. I think a closer that comes out and he's only going to throw 3
especially
outs
nowadays. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's possible. But even if a closer were to break that record, I think it would be ostracized. Is that a word? Ostracized that it was a reliever versus a starter. But think about it. Think about how incredible it is to go 60 innings consecutively. If you're averaging, 7 innings a start, right? Think about how many starts in a row that is, that this dude's just not giving up anything. It's incredible.
What do you fools? You fools want all the numbers retired for every team. So what are they going to go to 101 and start wearing 127 and 148? You just think all these numbers should be retired. Dodgers.
Benito Santiago, number 09. Remember that?
Yeah. There you go. Benito Santiago, 09. They have to go 055 to wear the 55 number, bro.
Go to 3 numbers.
Go to 3 numbers. That MLB will not let that happen.
Hey, alphanumeric. Hey, someone can be number 1B.
There you go. Hey, let's close it out. Rudy's got a job to do. Nas big homie's probably go pick up the little hoodlums from the school science center or whatever. But I cannot close it out without talking about the Women's College World Series. It starts tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. And congratulations, the Women's College Softball World Series, for those of you who don't know. Right. We got Oklahoma, James Madison, Georgia, Oklahoma State, Alabama, Arizona, Go Noles, and UCLA.
What it is.
But congratulations to Sis Bates, the UW shortstop, best college shortstop of all time, male or female. So if you don't know, check her out. She has a highlight reel for days. They didn't make the tournament this year. They had a struggle in the super regionals, but they'll be back soon. A lot of seniors on that team. We got the NHL draft lottery tonight. Release the Kraken, baby. Let's go. 10.3% chance. Number 3 best odds to get the number 1 pick. They're
guaranteed. How did they just not get the top 5? How did they just not give them the 1? That's crazy.
I know. Let's see. But, we got that coming up. 50 days till the expansion draft for the NHL. 133 days till the opening of the 21-22 season. We got a lot of work to do, fellas, on some NHL, because once the Kraken gets going, it's going to be a good pop. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting.
It already is. It already is. The merch is like in the city crazy already. Okay. True. It's Kraken. It's Kraken merch floating through my house that crazy already. So we're already down. Okay. And then you get on the street and It's gonna be live. If you remember the intro to the Sounders, and I think that's why I said the Sonics would be major up here, because the way that Seattle brought in the Sounders and that whole damn parade business that goes on down that street, nuts. So I hope that they get the same kind of love and turnout, because we know what happened to the Sonics anyway. I just hope that everybody's learned their lesson. You want to see your favorite team, buy some tickets. Go see them.
It's going to be fun. Exciting. Hey, Rudy, thanks for joining us, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back a little bit.
Yeah. Hey. Well, Announce Big Homie in his busy schedule. We have to accommodate everything that he's got going on in his life. So it's a little tough to make these things work as frequently as we want to, but we're going to get there sooner or later. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That'd be much appreciated. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcast online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015. Follow Nas Big Homie at homie_anonymous. Follow Rudy at Ryan R. Lesko. And Nas Big Homie, what you got for the people, brah?
Yo, I'm getting out of a championship tournament. I'm withdrawing right now. Forget all this media obligation. Damn, this is fun.
That was Sports Fix with Stix. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. If you want to join the show, use the hashtag StixandSports.